whoever's front row that's hitting the highest hitting percentage.
Well, King is out there for Michigan State right now. Love counters on the other side for Minnesota. Filio up front too. Tan with words of encouragement to her Golden Gopher teammates. And Carrico to serve.
You know, with Tabitha Love on the left side, you probably don't want to set the right side of your court. She's 6'6", and she puts up a nice block for Minnesota.
Minnesota needs this point to extend set number 1. Another set point for the Spartans. Taylor with the honors. Amro. Schatzel. Got it! Michigan State takes set number 1 in dramatic fashion by a count of 25-23.
Oh, what a nice set to the outside. Perfect set, nice and tight. Schatzel seeing that seam, seeing the hole in the block, and just ripping it. Picture perfect.
Schatzel had 20 kills on Wednesday night. Off to a good start again here tonight with 5 in the first set and hitting .833. The team hitting .517. Michigan State takes set 1 over Minnesota. Back with set number 2 right after this. Hebron very strong at the net with 6 kills. And you can see both teams hitting astronomical numbers. 250, as we mentioned, is pretty good. And look at that. Both of them over at least 400.
That's right. And in my opinion, right now, Michigan State's outside hitters are flat out just beating Minnesota's outside hitters. You've got Abram and Schatzel, 6 kills and 5 kills. And for Minnesota, you've only got 3 kills for Cowles on the left side and 2 for Tabitha Love. So as this game continues, we'll see if Minnesota's outside hitters can get the job done.
Slavis. And a point for Minnesota. You know, when I mentioned one other stat, as you look at this, Michigan State has 2 wins over ranked opponents so far this season. Both times it was a team ranked number 12 in the nation. Tonight they play Minnesota, and where are they ranked? Number 12.
That's a pretty cool fact.
Tied at 1 apiece. Abram is such a force at the net. Even if you know she's going to work that slide, she can still find the opening. King to serve. Carrico. Cowles tried to find the opening, but it was too strong.
Yeah, she was going for the hands and just missed. You saw how she was swinging across her body a little bit, really hitting high, trying to get that touch on the block.
Vanessa King, who hit .571 against Purdue last weekend on the slide. That time, Gidmeyer went a long way for that one and came up with a winner.
Well, a nice set by Taylor Carrico. She was right on the left side of the court and manages to set a perfect slide to the right side pin.
Carrico approaching 5,000 assists in her career. That's combined for both schools at USC and at Minnesota. To the outside, Slavis. Good pass. Michigan State with a 3-1 here. Good block of the net. Emro sends it over to Slavis. Does she find the opening? She does.
Nice little change-up shot there by number 11, Becca Slavis. Take a look at this. The defense playing perimeter means the outside of the court, and that means the middle of the court is susceptible to that little roll shot or tip.
On the slide, Gidmeyer finds the opening. On a play like that, the prior play, when you go with the soft touch, how much of that is the individual player? Does the setter ever give any cues to the player to let them know what to do, what kind of shot?
Well, sometimes they do, but usually what happens is you know what kind of defense your opponent's playing, and you know that if the ball is tight or you need another shot, that the hole in the middle is open. And defensively, you want to be stopped at the point of attack, and you want to run those balls down. Every team in the Big Ten plays a perimeter defense, and they rely on the speed of defensive players to track the ball down.
See what Gidmeyer did last weekend against Iowa, going over the 1,000 mark. The thing is, you look at all the numbers, and then you look at the most important thing. You look at the roster, you find out that she is just a junior. Carrico will send it over. Slavis almost had a net violation from Minnesota. Love pushes it over. And the dump that time. Point Minnesota.
Everybody's calling for a double contact on Michigan State's player. Take a look at this scrappy play. And the ball, you see the ball rotating out of her hands. That should have been called a double play, but nonetheless, Minnesota did get the point.
Gidmeyer serves. We're not in a 4-piece here in set number 2. The slide, nice back set I'm going to ask you, what are the two most difficult sets? When you push it back like that, and also is the cross-court set very difficult to do for the setter too?
Yeah, I think there's a number of sets that are challenging. One is when you are moving away from the left side attacker and you have to pitch the ball all the way across. And then if you want to be risky and when you're moving forward, trying to set a slide is really tough too. You know, and if you're not a good jumper, the ball that's passed tight can be real difficult. So I'd say those three are the most challenging scenarios for setters.
Love with the winner. We're knotted at 5 apiece now. As you can see the kills +7 for Michigan State in that category. Emro saw the opening. That's prime. Now, I actually saw her look about a second before the play, and she saw the opening near side here where we're sitting, and she was just able to touch it across for the winner.
Yeah, Emro knows where the base position is for the Minnesota Gophers, and she knows that that left front area is open. Nice little touch shot behind her.
6-5. Spartans. And Wilson comes up with the winner. Megan Wilson, a great story. She's been playing on the right side. Actually, somebody that transferred in from Missouri, and you don't have to sit out a year unless you're not released. You saw Chelsea Noble, I think, from Ohio State, not released by Tennessee, so she had to wait. But Wilson able to contribute immediately to the Minnesota squad. Tied at 6. Great job by Becca. As Davis finds the opening in the back row of the Gophers.
Now let's talk about Vanessa King from Michigan State. She's really just a decoy hitter. And so Minnesota knows that she's not going to get the ball and still goes to the outside. But right now, Michigan State's outside attackers are doing a good job of scoring regardless of how many blockers are in front of their face.
Point for Michigan State as it sails wide. Wilson trying to come up with a winner there.
You know, I always talk to my young players defensively. You want your foot on the line, and that way, if the ball is outside your body, you know it's out. Nicely positioned defensive players for Michigan State.
Wilson, ball handling error in the back row by Allison Carrabba. Well, what level do you coach at? Are you in the middle school level, the high school level?
I coach clubs, so
okay.
I coach 6 teams, and I coach for a club out of Columbus, Ohio called Columbus Volleyball.
Okay, we'll bill you for that, by the way. Let's serve a little too strong. I got to ask you, with all the knowledge that you have you ever contemplated coaching for good on the college level? I know you were an assistant in the past.
Well, I was Jim's assistant for a while.
Jim Stone,
and, you know,
right.
yeah, the lifestyle of an assistant coach, you know, you're on the road so much. I've got 2 young ones at home, and I like my job as a teacher, so.
And where else can you get roses from somebody, too?
Exactly.
9-8. Spartans up in this one. Set number 2. They took set number 1 by 2 at 25-23. Wilson serving. And again, some service errors here back and forth. A little too juiced up here in set number 2.
When we talk about how important serving the ball tough is, and you want to serve the ball strategically, you want to serve certain players, or you just want to go back to the end line and just rip the ball so that you put the other team in a little bit of pressure offensively.
Abram. It's going to sail wide off the block. Point, Michigan State.
Man, Abram is a killer. She is so effective wherever she hits the ball from. Such a powerful arm.
We'll talk about youthful. She's just a sophomore. She'll be back for 2 more seasons. Gidmeyer on the slide. Nicely done at the net as Nelson and Abram are there. The other thing I was looking at Nelson early on, she was perfect at the net, too. She was 4 for 4 in kills. So Michigan State has really shared the wealth in this match. Jericho sends it over to Cowles. And that's going to be a winner as Weiler can't dig it.
Man, that is a nice looking hit from Haley Cowles on the left side. Take a look at this. Nice deep approach. She's one-on-one. Just nails the ball down the line.
When you ask Mike Hebert about her, he says 2 words: great instinct. And there's a great shot by Abram as she comes through with another winner. She's now in double digits with 10 kills in this match, only in set number 2.
And as she just hammers the ball cross court, deflects off the block, and you see Tabitha Love from Minnesota. She's 6'6", so she's standing a little too high to get that ball that lands really quick to the floor.
Michigan State still hitting .524 as a team. Love gets plenty from her teammates now.
What potential she has. Wow. At 6'6", nice, strong, fast approach. We're going to be calling her name a lot.
And she's the tallest player to ever be in the Minnesota program, and with that, pretty large expectations as well, too. And I think she's got a level head on her shoulders, and that's what Mike Hebert was talking about. grow, gradually work into that leadership grow. It's nice to have somebody like Gidmeyer there to lead somebody like that with a love for a year or two.
That's right. She's from Duff in Manitoba.
Yeah.
And I talked to Laura Bush, and she said when she went up for the recruiting trip, she goes, yeah, we had no idea where we were traveling. There was like bears and baby cubs and deer and all kinds of interesting things along the way.
11 serving to 14. King, that time she's no decoy.
That's right. Vanessa King, it's so good to see her get some swings at the ball. She's recovering from a shoulder injury. There you see her potential.
Vanessa King with the winner. Michigan State would like to be a winner, leading the number 12 team in the nation right now in set number 2. High in the match against Indiana with 65 assists. Did you ever approach that number?
I have no idea, Randy. I can't remember my stats. It was that long ago. Thanks for pointing that out.
Thank you very much. She ranks 6th all time in career assists, by the way, at Michigan State. Yeah, the Spartans now on a roll. And just like that, Minnesota says, you know what? We got to regroup because we're now down by 6. It's starting to get away from us in the second set. You go down 2-love, despite the fact that you have Love in the lineup. It could be dangerous if you're the Golden Gophers. It's 17-11, Michigan State here in set number 2. Eastern, right here on the Big Ten Network. Randy Reinhardt, Audrey Flaw, glad to have you aboard. Michigan State out to a nice lead, and after the break, Emerald lost her touch apparently during that timeout. If you're Mike Ebert, what did you tell your team at that time? You were down by 6.
Well, you've got to do a better job of blocking and playing defense around the block. You've got to track the hitters and really pay attention to the hitters that are doing really well for Michigan State. You've got to know where they are in the rotation at all times and anticipate that they're going to get the ball.
Jessica Granquist serving. She had 14 digs against Michigan last night. Pushed over nicely at the net. But wide by Nelson. Points for Michigan State.
And I feel like Minnesota is making a lot of unforced errors. Plays like that, you've got to keep the ball in play, attack the corners, do not tip the ball out of bounds. Put the ball in play and then block and dig for a point.
Especially when it's in the middle of the court. You've got the entire court to choose from, right? 18-12. Here's Wiley to serve. Got that floater down. Jericho to the outside. Fouls goes for the push. Does she find the opening? She does not. It sails long, and another point for the Spartans. Just what you were talking about.
Yeah, back-to-back errors will just kill the momentum here, and she goes for that tip. It's a smart shot, and she just sails it a little bit too long.
Weiler serving again. Her aunt was an NCAA Division I champion back in the mid-'80s while playing for Pacific back in 1985, to be exact. Take a look at the hitting percentage between the two teams. Minnesota is very good with the .385. But look at Michigan State, what they're hitting over 500.
Yeah, they are on fire, and I think that high percentage might be indicative of Minnesota's backcourt defense. I really don't feel like they're extending the rallies by digging the ball, and then they just don't have the ability to dig and transition out of that and score.
Catherine Harms will check into the lineup, and Nelson will check out. I almost thought Mike was going to burn his second and final timeout. I think if they see another point or two by the Spartans, he'll burn that last time out here in set number 2. That could be the elixir. We'll find out.
Well, that is a great serve. That ball's floating, just trickling over the net and just dropping right in front of the Minnesota passer.
King with the ace. Believe it or not, she only had one ace coming into this match. Carrico, middle to go with Gidmeyer. Overpass, Gidmeyer another chance. I think Carly was surprised in the back row. That ends the streak for the Spartans, and Michigan State, though, still up by 7 in this one.
Well, Gidmeyer is on fire. After getting that kill, she turned around and just started screaming at her teammates to get it rolling.
Harm serving out of Albertville, Minnesota, to the far side. That's Flavas, and the block is there. And there is Gidmeyer again. Emphatic. Yes, yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Let's go. She was not fooled. She knew where the ball was going to end up. She seals the block. Nicely done by Lauren Gidmeyer.
Harms, who serves and has good left-handed power, as you can tell by that serve. Slavas. Carrico. Gidmeyer, she's the double team in the middle. Outside. Fouls. Sandstein was full contact, no call. Outside, Slavas with the winner.
You know, we talked about Minnesota, and will they be able to swing hard as the rally gets extended? And right now, it's all Michigan State. They are the ones that are swinging hard and scoring when it's time to in the long rallies. I don't think Minnesota has won a long rally all match.
Golden Gophers burn their second and final timeout here in set number 2. They need to make a statement. Michigan State took the first set. It was a tight one, 25-23, but now the Spartans have a 7-point cushion at 22-15. We mentioned that Michigan State and Ohio State, two of those teams right now in the Big Ten out here trying to prove themselves that they're worthy of the postseason party. 64 teams make it in. According to the stats I remember off the top of my head, I think there are 31 conference champions and 33 at-large bids. The other thing, too, when you look at Minnesota, I would say they're locked to make it in. They have a chance to be a part of their own regional as well, too. Minnesota, one of the sites for the regional. Of course, the national championship will be held down at Tampa St. Pete.
Right, when you talk about Michigan State, and after talking to Kathy George, she really feels like she and her team need to win at least 2 out of the 3 of the matches here. They play tonight, they play Ohio State, and then they play Penn State. So Penn State's a hard one, but let's see how they do tonight and then against Ohio State.
And if you're Minnesota, you're not giving up either. You want to make a statement before you get to the NCAA tournament. So I think they're hoping to get on a roll, too. If not tonight, then definitely for next weekend and for postseason play as well.
Absolutely.
So it's 22-15 here in set number 2. Minnesota with that mark of 21-8, 12-5 in the Big Ten. In a couple of minutes, Audrey, maybe we can break down the top 25 and also look at where the Big Ten teams stand in the top 25. And they are in the upper echelon, as always. Big Ten with solid representation in the ABCA Coaches Bowl. Carrico on the slide. Gibmeyer. Cows. It was touch. Point, Minnesota.
Well, Cows has such a nice line shot. I feel like she can go up and see where the block is. She's got great vision, and she really has great leaping ability, and I think that line shot is her bread and butter shot. So if you're Michigan State, when she's going up to hit, you better be ready for that line shot attack.
Haley Cowles played on that Northern Lights Club team that won the junior national crown in their junior year, and she was the best server on that team with a top spin jump and a floater as well.
Now you see how effective that is. She's just going back. She serves from so deep, and that allows the air currents in the gym to pick that ball and have it float even a little bit more.
You saying she's playing to win at an indoor facility? Michigan State ends the run with the winner there. Nelson has been so effective up front.
Well, take a look at that. She's running the slide, and there's really no block against her. So right now, Minnesota's blocking game is kind of falling apart. They really have to focus, be low and ready, and get up and over so quick. Michigan State's offense runs very quick. They set very low. So that means as blockers, you've got to penetrate the net a little bit faster than perhaps what you're used to.
There's Megan Hodge right there. That is not coming back. Up and down immediately. The lead is down to 5. Gibmeyer serving. Amro. Nelson with a miss at that time, and the Gophers cling to life here in set 2.
Yeah, she'd like to have that one back. That's a crucial error. That could have been the 24th point. You see she was trying to slice the ball a little bit, hit the side of the ball instead of the middle of the ball.
A little chop there. Here's Gibmeyer with a serve. On the slide, and Nelson with consecutive hitting errors. And I think Michigan State wants a timeout. Kathy George wants to regroup, and that's exactly what she will do. She burns her first timeout here in set number 2. Spartans still lead, though, by 3 in this one, 23-20 as Kathy George looks on. You can see the errors where they stand so far in this contest. So what a job by Kathy George, too, when you look at it. You know, she's got a chance to say goodbye to her first senior class, in essence, here with the 2 players that we alluded to in the open, and Vanessa King and Michelle Nelson, and 2 great leaders. And Kathy's done a great job of building on this program, adding new players. Last year had the number 7 recruiting class in the nation, and I see bright things ahead in the future for Michigan State. Well,
they're a very well-coached team, and I feel like tonight they have really scouted Minnesota and know what to do against them. They have a varied offense. The ball gets spread from pin to pin, and I think this team is going to be very good next year even because, boy, their lineup is so deep.
Meanwhile, for Minnesota, you want to talk about a great recruiting class. They got 2 blue chippers that have just committed. One is the middle blocker, 6'3", Tori Dixon. She's the daughter of former Minnesota Vikings offensive lineman David Dixon. And outside hitter Ashley Whitman, who's from Shakopee High School. Again, she's part of that Northern Lights club team. And if they won last weekend, I think Shakopee High School up in Minnesota has won the state championship 3 consecutive years. So you want winners, that's the place to go.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people think Illinois is the hotbed for volleyball players, and I think Minnesota is. I think they've got great clubs up there, and they have been able to produce Big Ten talents up in that state.
And what do they do with the dance? Well, they do pretty well. Thank you very much. A few years ago, they were in the championship game. You can see that with Mike Ebert at the helm, it seems perennially they are in the postseason party. Minnesota needs to make a stand here. They're down by 3 and Gibmeyer serving. Schatzel. Hammers it home. It was touched. Point Spartans, and now a chance to take set number 2.
Now Schatzel taking control of this one. Nice big hit, and then does it again. It's always interesting to see what kids do when they get the second set.
Love with the winner keeps set number 2 alive for the Golden Gophers.
Tabitha Love making this match interesting by getting a big kill here. She's got that cross-court shot down.
Michigan State with another chance to close it there. King surprised them all. She comes up with the winner, and Michigan State prevails again. Well, both times Minnesota got over 20. Both times they come up short as Michigan State takes the first set 25-23, and the Spartans take the second set 25-21. So great play by the Spartans. Solid hitting. When you look at it, Kendra Abram hitting .714 with 10 kills. Zlabus had 6 kills so far in this match for Michigan State, and Megan Schatzel is 7. Schatzel is hitting .778 in the first 2 sets. Meanwhile, Gibmeyer has 9 kills to lead the way for Minnesota. Let's go to Audrey now with the head coach of the Spartans.
Hey, Coach, you guys are doing great. You're up 2. What do you think? It's a good way to start, okay? So now we've got to finish it off, and I think the team's been playing really well. I think we followed our game plan, and we're executing, so we need to keep that up in game 3. You guys seem to be serving really tough, passing really well. What can we expect here in the third? Well, we got to keep doing those types of things because Minnesota is so good and they're so athletic. So we're going to need to keep the pressure on them in the serving area and again answer with passing. So it always seems to come down to the serve pass game, and so our team needs to stay on that. Well, good luck. Thank you very much.
That is the sound of a volleyball coach near the end of the season. There's nothing left, but plenty left on the court. Michigan State, though, putting it all on the line, up 2 sets of love here at Geneseo.
Abron and really keep track of all the outstanding hitters that Michigan State has.
Vanessa King is one of them, another senior playing her last home match, and she is trying to make a statement as early on the Spartans get first blood here as Weiler will serve again with a floater. That's Carrico. Seeing a lot more of Harms, I see, early in set number 3 for Minnesota to give that power front and also that southpaw, but the Spartans have found answers.
Michigan State playing out of their mind right now, doing some great defensive moves and digs in the backcourt. And not only are they getting the ball up, but they're transitioning very well out of that.
Weiler serving. Now, when Corrado went down with an injury and missed a match, Carly did a great job as the libero. Now Minnesota answers and gets on the board here in set number 3.
And a nice, strong outside attack. You can't expect any more from Haley Cowles. I think she's doing an outstanding job on the left side for her team.
And she's seen triple blocks at times and on the way to defeat those. And with a serve, this is King. Emro, Zlabus, and the block is there. And the aforementioned Ms. Harms as Catherine comes through with a good play there at the net.
It's a nice looking block there by Catherine Harms, reaching up and over. And there you see when she makes contact, she pushes to the center of the court.
You saw the eyes of intensity there at the net as well, too, from Catherine. Quick poke that time by King, proving it doesn't always have to be the fastball. You can go with the softer stuff and still get a winner.
You can, and sometimes when you're not expecting the hitter to get the ball, sometimes you're late on the block, and that opens up some opportunities.
Power slide by Gibmeyer, but she sends it wide of the line, so a point for the Spartans. The irony, too, when you look at the team hitting numbers for these two squads, identical coming into this match, both hitting .252, tied for 3rd place in the league. But Michigan State is dominated here. That's King. Emro. Avon, and the block waiting for her. But Michigan State provides another point.
This is nice looking volleyball if you're a Michigan State fan. They get a touch off Gibmeyer's slide attack. Ball goes right up to the setter off the dig. They set the other antenna, which forces Gibmeyer out of the play from a blocking standpoint.
Powell's shot misses wide. Another point for the Spartans, and they're creeping out again to another lead, up by 4 here. Minnesota normally pretty strong in digs and blocks. When you look at the league numbers again, Audrey, they're second in blocks, first in digs in the league, but that hasn't been the case here tonight.
Yeah, I'm really not seeing that strength tonight from Minnesota. I know that they have it in them, but I'm just not seeing it. We'll see if they can kind of turn that around here in the third set.
You just wonder how much last night's match took out of them when they lost 3 straight to Michigan, as they did when they had the large leads, too.
Well, it definitely would take the wind out of your sails a little bit and play with your confidence, especially on the road. It's always tough to play on the road.
Davis trying to come up with a cross-court winner. Going to go for save. Tan sends it over. This is Weiler. Emro. Abron saves it. Caraba got there. Cowles comes up with the winner. Even that was a very staccato long rally, if you will.
It was, and that was one in favor of Minnesota. So Mike Hubert has to appreciate the play of his team in that rally.
Arm serving. Wow. That was a rocket shot. May have gone long. Abron lets it off the block.
You know, I just look at her physical makeup. She has got such nice wide shoulders and such strength. You can see her biceps and triceps through the long sleeves of her arm. I mean, she is buff.
Reminds me of you and your point.
Yeah.
Good push that time by Carrico, trying to change things up and stop the momentum for the Spartans, since she does so with that winner. So look at Gibmeyer up front. Take a look at this one more time.
Again, Carrico is a lefty, so that's a nice strong shot for her. We haven't seen much of her attacking tonight. She should really take advantage of that left hand of hers and swing at the ball some. Hey.
Speaking of lefties, Emro, the setter, showing she can be offensive, if you will, at the net, comes up with a winner.
It's always an advantage for a setter to be left-handed, or at least to be able to swing left-handed.
Why is that?
Well, because when you play on the right side of the court, that's your strong shot. The ball does not have to cross your body. So as a setter, you can jump up and swing hard at the ball.
Vanderstein serving. Gibmeyer, great adjustment by Lauren. That was a home run. That went over the fence.
Yeah, and again, you want to eliminate the unforced errors. She was under that ball a little bit. It wasn't the best approach. And instead of hitting it way out of bounds, maybe a tip to the left front area of the court would have been more effective.
Nelson converted on her first 4 kill attempts in this match. There's another chance. Good back row opportunity by Minnesota. At the net, won by the Spartans. This is Carrico, who again tries to push it over. And County for Minnesota. Good job by our first referee, Amy Bouchut, to dodge that one as well.
Well, Taylor Carrico for Minnesota. She is going to take advantage of the fact that she is a left-handed player, front row setter, and she will attack the ball when she is up there. So Michigan State has to be prepared for that and call her out when she's in the front row. Another
left-handed setter trying something to the nets. Natalie Emro, but she can't convert, so Minnesota gets the point, and they've really found a way to creep back into this thing now. Tied at 8 in set number 3, but the Spartans have taken the first 2. This is Schatzel. And she sends it wide, and another point for Minnesota. So after Michigan State dominated early in set number 3, it's Minnesota with the upper hand.
Right, and you can see how unforced errors can just kind of be such a downer. I mean, right now we're seeing errors from Michigan State that we haven't seen in the first 2 sets. Hitting error after hitting error, and it's causing Minnesota to be ahead. And
causing Michigan State to get out of system and to take a timeout. They will burn their first here in set number 3. Minnesota on top in set 3, but Michigan State took the first 2.
The ball, and so they call them out, and I think they're doing a better job of playing disciplined Minnesota type of volleyball.
But that's a winner you have to go to there in Megan Schatzel. She was so effective to elongate that match against Michigan on Wednesday night. As King will check in as well to play back in the front row.
You know, and I feel like Minnesota's putting up a good block, and the block is channeling the ball to the left back corner. I really think it's Minnesota's backcourt defense responsibility to get their hand on the ball and play the ball up.
To the middle, in the back row, that was Labus with the attack. King on the slide. Good get by Carrico. Sent over too strong that time by Filio. And a point for the Spartans.
Well, this is as good as it gets, people. Big Ten volleyball, this is what it's all about. You've got Michigan State, who is 8th, really putting one on here against Minnesota, who's 3rd in the conference.
Well, you see the margin of error is very slim between these two teams. And we touched on the first time they got together back on October the 23rd. It was a 5-setter. And then Michigan State just Wednesday night on the Big Ten Network took Michigan to 5 sets. So anything can happen. That's the quality and the parity that you have in the Big Ten, but it's positive parity at the top. So many strong teams. That's why there's 4 teams in the top 14 in the nation from the Big Ten.
You know, you talk about the tournament. These Big Ten teams that make it into the tournament are so tournament ready. They're ready for the battle because they're used to playing high-level volleyball every single weekend. So you often see Big Ten teams advancing as the tournament goes on.
And of course, Russ Rose and Penn State, 7 years running now as the top team in the Big Ten. 13 times they've won the league crown, and you and I will have a chance to see them wrap up the regular season as they take on Michigan. Michigan was a team that challenged them, remember, when they played at Cliff Keen Arena. Take a look at the Big Ten teams in the top 25, and actually in the top 14.
Yeah, you take a look at these teams, and they all have outstanding players, and I just think that the Big Ten is so well represented.
And then you say, what about Michigan State and Ohio State? We say, let's see what happens in the last 2 weeks. Those 2 teams have a chance to make the tournament as well, too. Michigan State, though, coming on here in set number 3. They had the lead. It was relinquished, and now the Spartans have fought back to tie this thing at 12 apiece.
Megan Schatzel, you see her going on the bench after getting a big kill on the right side. The thing about Michigan State is their players don't just play one position. You know, the outside hitters will swing some in the middle swing to the outside, off serve receive, and they're just so versatile.
Cowles hits it into the block, and it stays in, and a point for Michigan State.
Well, Abron, whatever she does it big. Look at this block. Again, lights out.
Well, Kendra has been so efficient at the net, as has Schatzel been, and those two have helped to lead the Spartans. We're tied now at 13 apiece.
And Minnesota right now taking advantage of their right side attack and that strong right side attack. So Michigan State's blockers are not really used to going that way. They haven't really set that offensive play a lot tonight. So Minnesota really changing up what they're doing and setting the right side attacker, and it's being very effective.
Double contact, or 2 hits called on the Spartans. So give the point now to Minnesota as they creep back into the lead by 1 now at 14-13. Spartans took their first 2. Tan, by the way, don't forget, was the defensive player of the year in the Big Ten last year. Cross court attempt by Labus. Gibmeyer will set it over. Emro. Abram tries to adjust. And Labus took the shortcut and went under the net instead.
Minnesota's defense picking up here. You see they're digging some more balls and they're blocking more balls. Nice play there at the net.
Well, you talk about 2 coaches you want to play for, and I think you're seeing both here, and Mike Hebert and Kathy George, both inspire you, and they do it in different ways. So that's the interesting thing. Kathy is vocal, as you can tell by the lack of a voice that she had during the interview.
That's right.
And Mike Hebert is more calm and so professorial, yet he knows the system inside and out, and a testament to what he has done when you look at the numbers that he has compiled, not only at Minnesota, but also at Illinois as well, too. Hans with the pushover. On the slide, it's Avon, and the block right back in her face. As you can see, Cowles and Gibmeyer pumped to the net for the Golden Gophers.
Again, Minnesota setting their right side attack, and then Michigan State countering with their right side attack, but not nearly effective enough here as it gets roots right to the center of the court.
Mike Hebert, already in the Hall of Fame, was inducted back in December of 2006. And the winner by Nelson and company in the middle.
Yeah, Michelle Nelson does a good job of being patient. She's in the left front area of the court, waits for that ball to be set, and then explodes in on that 1-foot takeoff.
Becca's latest serving. Carrico, Cowles. And a nice job by Haley to come up with a winner.
Yeah, as a drop-off blocker, you want to be down low and ready. That little spin shot there, nice top spin shot. It lands quickly, so you got to be down low and ready.
I don't know what you do with Haley Cowles next year. She could be a libero if you needed her back there, or do you play her in the front? Carrico, Love will send it over. Love again. Into the net. Point Spartans.
You know, that's where I see Tabitha Love needing a little bit of improvement. What do you do when the ball is out of system? I don't feel like she lengthens her approach enough. She sort of just stands from a 2-footed stance and just kind of jumps there and hits. She really has to get bigger swings on the ball on broken plays.
16 serving 17. Carrico. Gidmeyer could get like Caraba in the background. This is Schatzel. And the block is there by Loring as Gidmeyer comes through with another winner. She had 12 blocks last Sunday against Wisconsin. Minnesota leads in that category now 7-4.
Again, Michigan State out of system. They need bigger swings on the ball, just like I said Minnesota needed to do. Exactly what Michigan State needed to do on that play.
The overpass and a knuckleball sent over by Love, but it's the winner. Kathy George contemplated timeout, looked at the scoreboard, and then decided, yes, I will burn my second and final timeout here in set number 3. Minnesota up 19-16, but the Spartans took sets 1 and 2 here inside Jenison on the campus of Michigan State. With YMCA being spelled out here in case you forgot the letters. It's Jenison Fieldhouse. Spelling it out for you this way, Michigan State dominated the first 2 sets, but Minnesota with the upper hand here in set number 3. Christine Tan has played strong here in set number 3. I think she's kicked it up a notch here in the 3rd set.
Yeah, not only is she getting her hand on the ball, but she's able to put it up to the middle of the court so that Michigan can transition and get some good swings on that ball. You know, she's experienced. She's a senior. She has seen these players hit before, so she's able to line up in good position. And now in this 3rd set, we're seeing her actually executing some good digs.
And she picks up service ace number 18 on the year. Slavis pounds it into the net. And it's looking more and more like we'll have set number 4 as the margin is now 5 for the Gophers.
Well, Michigan State has to pick it up here. Again, we talk about unforced errors, which we didn't see in sets 1 and 2. We're starting to see them creep into Michigan State's game in set 3.
And that was touched in the front row. So give the point to Michigan State as King checks back into the front row.
Nice high swing off that right side blocker's hands.
And a service ace. Count it for Allison Caraba, the pride of Muskegon, Michigan. You know, her dad was a football player as the timeout is taken, and she's got that same kind of scrappy mentality. She will go for it, and she will put a lot of juice on the serve, despite the fact that she stands only 5'7". She plays a lot taller than that.
Well, if you're a libero, that's exactly how you want to be. You want to be scrappy, and you want to be tough and courageous.
You could have been a libero. Hey, you can find more Big Ten volleyball stats at Big10Network.com. It is the ultimate destination for all of your Big Ten volleyball stats. Check it out. That is at Big10Network.com. I go there religiously to check out all the numbers, and a lot of the numbers that you hear tonight and see on the screen come from that site. You know, we should mention, too, that when you look at the volleyball court here tonight, in honor of Volley for a Cure, you may notice that the lines look a little fluorescent. That's because they're also in pink in honor of Volley for a Cure here tonight as they honor the various events for Susan Komen. And I think we'd be remiss in our duties if we didn't reflect, too, on the passing of Stephanie Spielman, somebody who is a proud fighter throughout the Big Ten when it comes to breast cancer and cancer awareness. She lost her battle on Thursday night in Upper Arlington, a suburb of Columbus, and she battled cancer 5 times, and she left this planet at the age of 42, and she had a great partner in Chris Spielman, and our sympathies go out to the Spielman family.
Absolutely, a beautiful family, and we're going to miss her greatly.
I'm Randy, along with Audrey. Glad to have you aboard. Neil Gallo, our producer tonight, and a great location at Jenison Fieldhouse. I can still hear The echoes from when Magic Johnson was playing hoops here some 30 years ago. After the service ace, that began a service error. Make the margin 4 now.
Yeah, Randy, I was just thinking you've got to serve the ball tough. You just had a service ace. Go back to that player. You can't have a service error, not at this point in the third set.
Carrico with the honors now. Schatzel. Boy, she's got that switch that she can turn on. You just wonder why sometimes they don't set her more.
Well, she elevates so quickly. She's got a nice little bounce to her step. And again, she goes over top of the block and has such a variety of shots.
Got 12 kills now in 17 attempts. Whoops, and it's still made over. Just the way you don't draw it up. As they look like they attempted the medal for Filio, and I'm not sure she made any contact with it. Did she even touch it?
Well, she just barely touched it, and it just managed to go right there in that right front area of the court where nobody plays defense.
I think it was like the candle you have on your first birthday on the cake there. Just got enough, and that was it. And that time she comes through with authority.
Well, you see why passing serve receive is so important right now. Michigan State, a couple unforced errors and then bad passing. Not going to win a set if you do that.
Set point now for Minnesota to get back into this thing. Embro. Slavis keeps it going. Weiler in, Abram in. Take a look.
A nice pass. Slavis just ripping the ball on the outside. She's making this third set interesting.
Carly Weiler to serve for the Spartans. Wow. And there's a weapon you don't always see from Minnesota, but you saw it that time from Catherine Harms, who comes through with the winner. And she's a little secret that I think we're going to see more of, too. And she is just a youngster, too, just a freshman.
Yeah, Minnesota taking advantage of a strong right side attack. Again, in sets 1 and 2, we really didn't see that. We're seeing a lot here in the third set, and I would imagine, Randy, we'll see it in the fourth as well.
Good point. We'll take a break. Set number 4 around the corner. Minnesota takes set 3, but the Spartans, under Kathy George, lead 2-1. You are watching Big Ten Volleyball on the Big Ten Network.
Seems, and it seems like Minnesota's right side attackers are taking advantage of that.
And Harms especially at the end of that set. We'll see if King and company, though, can counter for the Spartans. If you're Kathy George, what do you try to do here in set number 4 to close the door?
Well, keep them focused, and they need to eliminate the unforced errors. They had a whole slew of them there in that third set. So Kathy George has to have confidence in her team. They've played very well in sets 1 and 2. The only thing that hurt them was unforced errors in set 3.
You saw the stats, and you saw the numbers still. The hitting percentage is very good for both teams, both still hitting over 300 in this match. We'll see what happens here. We mentioned that Michigan State has 2 wins against teams in the top 25, and ironically, there were 2 teams that ranked number 12 in the nation at the time. We'll see if they can do it here again. Minnesota has other thoughts. Can with the serve. And she found the winner. I thought that was going to be too strong, but Abram comes through.
Minnesota trying to serve the ball tough so that the passer gets in the way of the attacker. Didn't affect Michigan State negatively in that play. They were able to get a big swing from the right side.
She's got 13 kills now. Cowles sent it over. And that violation and a point for Minnesota.
Now you talk about hitting percentage, and yes, Michigan State is still hitting for the match 35%, but in that third set, they were only hitting 14%. They had 14 kills and 9 errors on 34 attempts, so that's where the difference was.
Michelle Nelson sends it straight down for another Spartan point. Well, she has been effective at times, especially in set number 1. I think she was 4 for her first 4, and let's see if she can kick it up one more notch here in set number 4. This Carrico goes with a quick attack. They've got it back, and that's Gidmeyer on the slide for the winner.
Gidmeyer again, that's not her hardest shot, but rather she places it in the right spot. She sees that the block is taking her line. She does a nice little snap and gets it in the right back corner.
And Cowles to serve now for the Gophers. Knotted at 2. And a service error. Schatzel comes back in. And Vandersteen, front row and back row respectively. There's Haley, and there's head coach Mike Hebert. He's guided the Gophers, by the way, in the postseason to a mark of 26-14. So you're talking about a .650 winning percentage for Mike Hebert in the postseason. As Gidmeyer comes through again.
No, I remember Mike Hebert when he was the head coach at Illinois back when I played, and at the time Laura Bush, his assistant, now was his outstanding middle attacker back then. So Laura and I had a chance to chat before the match. He's just so much fun.
In fact, he's 11-1 in first-round matches in the NCAA tournament as the coach of the Gophers. Shameless touch, give another point to Minnesota. Could we be sniffing a fifth set here, perhaps, between these two, just like they did back in October?
Well, it could really go either way, and it's the team that serves tough and passes the best that'll win this set.
Schatzel. That was Cowles. Wilson. And Michigan State with a golden opportunity here. Nelson found the winner. That wasn't speed, that was location.
That's exactly right. She was a little off balance. She was one-on-one. And again, she did what we saw Gidmeyer do in the previous play. She just kind of places it in that right back area of the court.
Overpass. And Carrico makes something of it, though.
A nice heads-up play by Taylor Carrico, the setter for Minnesota. She turns around just at the right time to block that overpass.
Got two setters that have shown you in this match, Audrey, that if need be, they can show you some offensive prowess. Point Minnesota. I guess the question is, too, we've seen a couple of southpaw setters. Were there that many left-handed setters back when you were playing?
You know, I don't remember that there were any setters in the Big Ten that were lefties. You know, we all tried to train ourselves to hit with our left hand, even though that wasn't the most comfortable thing to do. But you want to be strong with your left hand, even if you're just tipping the ball. You want to tip it with some force.
Love comes up empty. That time they were in system, but she couldn't get it over the net. So now Minnesota sees Michigan State cut the lead to 1 here in set number 4. Spartans taking the first two sets, 25-23 and 25-21. Then Minnesota by 5 in set 3, 25-20. And Rose sends it cross court. Zalevich comes up with the winner. Haven't heard from Beck in a while.
Well, there she is with that cross-court killer shot. Again, a little bit out of system. The setter setting from behind the 10-foot line, yet she managed to get a strong swing on the ball.
She had a double-double against Indiana a week ago. 19 kills, 16 digs. That's her 7th double-double of the season. Just like that, Minnesota slows down the Spartans. As checking into the back row again is Jessica Moran-Quist, the pride of Blaine, Minnesota, to serve. Member of the M1 Volleyball Club in the past. Emro, good block of the net by Filio, and again Filio slides down there with Cowles and makes the big play.
You know, when you're a setter, you want the middle blocker to move. So when you see the ball going from one pin to the other pin, it's so that you offer your hitter some opportunities to score. Even if there is a slight gap between the block, that is exactly what you want as a setter. You want to give your hitters opportunities to hit some angles and hit some seams in the block.
Good block by King at the net. Carrico says, I've got it. Cowles with the attack. It's touch. Point. Minnesota.
Boy, Cowles plays the game like the game should be played. I just love this kid. She is all around one heck of a good player. At 5'10", she's got all kinds of shots. And I like her ball control and her just aggressive nature on the court.
And you know, some of the Minnesota leaders got together before the season, and she was one of them, along with that young lady, too, Gidmeyer, to say, okay, this is what we want to do this season. This is the goal that we have for the Golden Gophers. And, you know, a top 12 ranking right now, and 21-8 tells me that they've done a lot of the things they want to accomplish, but still trying to get ready for the postseason as well. To the outside they go, and Slavis will get by Tan in the back row. It's Gidmeyer with the middle attack. Emro on the back set. It goes to Abram, and she comes through the winner.
You know, again, I feel like both middle blockers on both sides of the net are having a hard time moving to their left. There you see Gidmeyer kind of reaching outside her body, really not getting her feet to the point of attack. And Really, that's allowing Michigan State to score on that right side.
And see, that's the other weapon I think can be so effective for Minnesota. We haven't seen that from Catherine Harms that often. They haven't set her that many times, but when she gets it set at that height, watch the follow-through. That's immediate termination there from Catherine.
Yeah, and she is just a freshman, so let's take advantage of her. If you're Minnesota, give her the ball and pump her up and see what she can do tonight.
Well, think about that. She's a freshman,
right.
Loves a freshman. We talk about the two prospects coming in. Gibmeyer's an old woman as a junior. So, I mean, they're going to be loaded again next year and for years to come. And Lauren gets a winner. Fouls to serve. That was a defensive play by Tan to save her face, I think, more than anything. Great job by Christine in the back row. This is Abram, and the block is there. Look at Gibmeyer. I would think the amount of energy she gives up to yell after the point would make her tired, but she doesn't care. Watch the excitement she has.
Yeah. And that's exactly what you need when you're playing on the road. You've got to get your team fired up and excited by every single point.
I've noticed when you look into her eyes and Schatzel, they don't blink during the point. Counted for Michigan State as it says, watch Schatzel and Vandersteen again. Front row, back row subs.
And again, for Minnesota, can Tabitha Love shake off hitting errors? And what I'd like to see from the freshman outside hitter is her having eye contact with the setter, saying, my bad, give me the ball again, and I'll put it down.
Gibmeyer. Emro hunts it down. Overpass. Good get by Tan. This is Love off the block. Emro. And the winner by Nelson. The thing that has to impress the layperson watching this is the ground that a setter has to cover during a point. I mean, it's amazing, Audrey, what you did and what the ladies do today. Just how much of the court you have to cover to come up with a winner.
Well, and not only do you have to cover a lot of court, but as you're moving, you have to deliver a perfect set. These hitters want the ball in the same spot every time. They don't care if you're flinging around all over the court. They don't care about that one bit. They want the ball in the same spot no matter where you are on the court.
That's Schatzel. That's Love. That's Love. Plenty of love for the Gophers there.
It's a nice looking swing. They pulled Tabitha Love in for a higher ball that's set toward the middle of the court, zone 2 or zone 3. And she just takes advantage of her size and takes advantage of the block not being in good position.
Emro goes for the quick attack. Love goes for a little touch. Schatzel sends it across. That would have been a winner. Good get. This is Carrico on the slide. The block is there. And pounded into the net by Emro. And Minnesota, the first to 15. The Gophers have turned it around. They are up by 4. They took the third set. Mo is on the side of Minnesota, if you will. Golden Gophers up by 4.
The all-new Big10Network.com, your home for hundreds of Big Ten video highlights. Sign up for text alerts and find out when your school will be featured on any Big Ten Network show. Interact with your favorite Big Ten Network personalities and shows on Twitter and Facebook. And download our podcasts to take the Big Ten Network with you wherever you go. The new Big10Network.com. Log on now.
Minnesota up in set number 4, looking to tie things up and force a 5th set to 15. Remember, you have to win by 2 in this set to go to 25. Slavers, the back row attack, and Nelson decides to end things herself and give a point to the Spartans.
You know, Michigan State has so many good hitters, and I know Kathy George is commenting that she wants 1 or 2 of them to emerge when the match gets tight. And we're going to see here in this 4th set if somebody emerges as the true leader on Michigan State's team. Right now they're playing very well, but who is the setter going to go to when the game is on the line?
Wilson with the ball handling error there. And it leads to another Spartan point to cut it to 2. This is Love. King has to just touch it over. Carrico goes for the dump and gets it.
Now, Emro having some decision-making errors, I think. I think the ball should have been pumped to the outside. Let your big hitters take swings at the ball. King again, she wasn't really ready. She wasn't up and calling for that set.
Schatzel off the block. Good get by the Gophers, and Carrico went down. Did she slide or change her mind?
Well, I'm not sure what happened there.
She saw a teammate there.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of a collision, and just let's move on.
Emro serving. That was Harms. Pushed over. Minnesota now with a chance. The outside. Love again with a nut pull. I'm not sure if it was by design or not. And Zlagos, does she find the opening? Nope. It is too strong. Point Minnesota.
Well, in that rally, you see Love playing right side, maybe putting up a bigger block against Michigan State's left side attackers, and you see Harms, the left-handed player, playing on the left side of the court. So strategically, I think Minnesota is trying to get a bigger block on Michigan State's outside hitters.
Minnesota has dominated the series, leading 42-16, but it's a fight here tonight in set 4. Baraba gets it. That's Emra. Schatzel. Punched over by Zlagos. Good get by Tan in the back row. To the outside. Balls. And Haley comes up with a big shot, and Collins gets the winner for Minnesota.
All right, there's another long rally that Minnesota won. So that was Mike Hebert's concern. Can they win the long rallies? Can they swing hard the 3rd or 4th time in the rally? And they were very effective that time.
Well, that's a good point, Audrey, and one of the reasons why is the improved back row play, although it breaks down there, but that's one of the reasons they turned this match around, because early on, the back row play was a little suspect for the Golden Gophers. Abram will check back in. Look at this last point. It's 18-15. Spartans trailing. And Wiley serving. I'm telling you, I think Harms is a secret weapon.
Yeah, she's a stud. I don't know why she's not getting more sets, and I would imagine that coach is going to tell her, setter, Carrico, to give her the ball. She is on fire. She's taking big swings from the right side. She's looking real good.
19-15. On the block. Good get by the Spartans to the outside. Zlagos pushes it over. Gophers out of system. Fouls. And the Spartans will send it wide, and another point for Minnesota. They quickly within 5 of tying up this match. And a timeout taken by the Spartans. Oh, I mentioned that Minnesota has dominated the series. They've taken 14 of the last 15. Can they keep it going? They need to win set number 4. We'll find out together right here. Welcome back. One of the cheerleaders trying to urge the Spartans on. They're down by 5 here in set number 4. Again, Audrey Flaw for the latecomers. Why have the Golden Gophers of Mike Hebert been able to turn it around?
Well, I think their intensity just elevated a notch or two. I think they're doing a good job with Harms on the right side, taking big swings at the ball. They're playing better backcourt defense, keeping the ball in play, and they're winning a few of the long rallies. So I think that's the big difference for Minnesota.
And Tan serving with the floater. Abram. Well, she banged that so hard I thought the net was going to fall over. Spartan faithful trying to get the green and white on a run here. Down by 4. With Vanessa King to serve. Goes by.
again, it's those nasty little unforced errors that come to bite you at the end. And when you're playing a team as good as Minnesota, the number 12 team in the nation, you've got to play almost flawless volleyball.
And Wilson to serve now for the Golden Gophers. Slavis. It's a point for Minnesota as it sails wide. The margin now 6, and you almost sense that we're going to have to get ready for a set number 5, and the best team will be the first to get to 15 to take this match, just as it was back in October. The Spartans not getting up. If you're Kathy George right now, what is going well right now? We talked about Harms playing well. Who's playing well for the Spartans?
Well, Abrams playing really well. She's very consistent. Slavis is hitting the ball pretty hard. Right now, they're just making a few too many errors, just different types of errors. Whether it be serving or not able to transition and score on plays like that. So they're just not as consistent as they were in sets 1 and 2.
And watch Carrico. This is the setter that makes a huge block at the net for Minnesota to get the point to put him within 2 of tying this thing up. Howells with the honors now. Nelson. Taylor Carrico. Love will send it across. Cross-court winner counted for Kendra Abrams.
That ball is a bomb. It comes from hand to floor so quickly. Take a look at it again. Kaboom.
Anderson serving for the Spartans. Gidmeyer with the knuckleball, and it's a winner, and it's now set point for Minnesota to tie this match at 2 sets apiece. Is that by design or a miss hit?
I would say it's a miss hit.
But it still counts as save.
It does, absolutely.
Lauren serving. Emmerich pushes it across, and Natalie finds the open court to cut the margin to 5 and keep it alive for the Spartans in set number 4.
And Michigan State has to call out Minnesota's hitters and think, where is the ball going to go ahead of time?
Bravo with a serve. Set for low. Allison with a good get in the back row. Schatzel sees the block, sends it over, sends it wide, and a point for Minnesota. And we liked it so much, we decided to play 5. As Minnesota strong in the last 2 sets, winning 25-20 and now 25-19. Great defense at the net by Minnesota. It's Carrico. Talk about her setting all you want, but she was strong defensively in the last 3 or 4 points. So Minnesota gets set number 4. We're going to play to 15. Whoever wins the match right here between Minnesota and Michigan State on the Big Ten Network.
Tonight, there's only one show that covers everything Big Ten. Big Ten Tonight, presented by Principal Financial Group. Mike Hall and Melanie Collins bring you a complete recap of the week that was across the conference. Highlights, in-depth interviews, football analysis from Chris Martin, and your first look at what lies ahead next week. Big Ten Tonight, presented by Principal Financial Group. Tonight at 10 Eastern, only on the Big Ten Network.
We go to set number 5 as Minnesota has taken the last 2 to even things up. We talked about the Minnesota block. Was not strong early, but they are second in the league in blocks, and Audrey, it's come on strong in sets 3 and 4.
Yeah, I have to say that that's the difference maker here. Better job blocking at the net, coupled with Michigan State's unforced errors, and Minnesota is in the match. And actually, they're playing pretty consistently from an offensive standpoint. There you see the stats. In set 1, they were hitting 41%, set 2, 30%, set 3, 27%, and last set, 42%. On the other hand, Michigan State started off so strong, hitting 51% the first set, then 44%, and then a major drop-off in sets 3 and 4, hitting 14% both sets.
Tan serving for Minnesota. Again, set 5 is first to 15. You have to win by 2, so everything is compressed. And Minnesota with an early start. In the kill category, if you're wondering, Cows and Gidmeyer, 14 apiece for Minnesota. Love has 10. For Michigan State, Aberon with 16, Schatzel 14, Nelson 10. Christine Tan to serve again with the floater. Embro to the middle. Carrico to the outside of Cowles. And Haley gets the winner.
Haley Cowles taking advantage of a block that's going straight up and not really pressing over. You see how high they get, but they're leaving that cross-court angle open, and she's just ripping the ball cross-court.
Minnesota trying to make the ultimate comeback after being down 2-0. The last time that Minnesota came back in that category, back on November the 23rd, 2007 at Illinois. They were down by 2 sets and came back to win it. We'll see if they can do it here. That man hopes so, but Kathy George and company have other things in mind. Slavis with the attack. Jericho got the ball in the back row. And a whistle and a net violation. Point for Minnesota with everything so condensed, Audrey. You take that timeout more rapidly, and that's exactly what Kathy George does.
Yeah, 15 comes at you pretty quickly, so when it's 4-0, boy, you've got to take a timeout. You got to regroup.
Michigan State takes the break, down 4-0 in set number 5. More volleyball just around the corner.
The all-new Big10Network.com, your home for hundreds of Big Ten video highlights. Sign up for text alerts and find out when your school will be featured on any Big Ten Network show. Interact with your favorite Big Ten Network personalities and shows on Twitter and Facebook. And download our podcasts to take the Big Ten Network with you wherever you go. The new Big10Network.com. Log on now.
How'd he get in here, huh? Enjoying the action. The last time these teams got together, it was Minnesota winning in set number 5, 15-9. They're on top early here in the 5th set, 4-zip. With Tan to serve. And Michigan State finally finds an answer.
Yeah, nice aggressive play at the net by Embro. You know, standing at 6'1", she touches 10 feet, so she's a nice physical setter to have on your side of the net.
Robert with a bullet serve. Carrico for Harms. And she found the winner. Well, I tell you what, that's another reason Minnesota has come back, is the play of Catherine Harms up front in sets 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, and look at that nicely pushed set to the right side. Good job by the setter, Carrico.
5-7 to 1 now, and Wilson with a service error. Michigan State needs some sort of a mini run, Audrey, you would sense right now, or Minnesota would be in the driver's seat here in set number 5. I'm ready to serve. Good get. Slavis got the winner with some spin on it, and it counts. Counted for Michigan State.
Well, the challenge for Minnesota will be, can you win when you're not playing perfectly? I'm sure Minnesota will say that this is not the best match that they've ever played, but I think it's a mark of a true championship team, a true stellar team. If you can win when things aren't going great, you still have to find a way to win. You have to compete and fight hard.
Slavis is roofed by Gibmeyer for a Minnesota point, as Love will check back in. Granquist will check out. It's 6-3 Minnesota here in set 5. Again, we played to 15.
You know, you almost feel like winning is a habit, and I think Minnesota feels like they've been in tight situations before and they've come out on top. Michigan State, on the other hand, I kind of get the sense that they have been in this situation before and always seem to lose, unfortunately. They always seem to be the bridesmaid and never the bride. So I wonder if they can turn this around here. If they have a chance to turn it around, they've got to do it now before Minnesota gets too many points ahead of them.
Well, 2 of the last 3 matches, and now include this one, to make it 3 of the last 4 for Michigan State, Audrey, have gone to 5 sets. They lost to Indiana in 5, and then Wednesday they lost to Michigan in 5. And we reach the 8th point as Minnesota's on cruise control here early in set number 5, up by 5 at 8-3. We'll take a break. The conclusion of this match just around the corner. Minnesota, number 12 in the nation, are facing a stern task from a strong team from Michigan State.
Want to attend the bowl game of your choice in VIP style? Presenting the Bowl Bound Sweepstakes, brought to you by Rotel and Velveeta. you could win an incredible grand prize package featuring bowl tickets, air and hotel accommodations, $1,000 in spending money and more, or great weekly prizes. To enter, register at Rotel.com or text Rotel to 20284 from your cell. Don't miss out. Enter the Bowl-Bound Sweepstakes today at Rotel.com.
Michigan State with determination after the timeout to pick up a point to cut it to 8-4. Interesting substitution I just noticed, and that Michigan State has added up front Jenny Lee Rocci, who we have not seen in this match.
Right, and Slavis is on the bench. So you kind of get a feel for what Kathy George wants. She doesn't want her outside hitter tipping at crucial points. She wants a swinger.
And Rocci comes through. No chance to warm up for Jenny Lee as she comes through with the winner there to cut the lead now to 3 at 8-5. Against Indiana last weekend, on Friday to be exact, Rocci had 19 kills. And she had that ACL injury last season. Carrico pushes it across. Great anticipation by Emra. Setter in the eyes of the setter. Natalie's got it. Rocci goes for the touch and comes up with a winner. She's got 2 in a row.
Yeah, and I would say that was a gutsy move by Kathy George to take the outside hitter out and put Rocci in, but so far she has delivered 2 crucial points for her team.
The eyes of determination there from Rocci. The lead is down to 2. Carrico outside for Love. Off the block, the Spartans have it. Outside, Abram with the winner. The lead is down to 1. Timeout, Minnesota. Just when you thought Michigan State was going to roll over, they show new life, great determination, a spark from the bench, and the hammer from Abram, and what was 5, Audrey, is down to 1.
Well, you gotta love this if you're a Michigan State fan. They are fighting, and they're fighting tooth and nail for every single point. I like the substitution call by Kathy George, putting in a new outside hitter. Let's hope that she can do a good job, and we're talking about Rocci on the left side to block that slide approach from Gibmeyer.
Let's go into huddles. First of all, if you're Michigan State, what are you telling your squad if you're Kathy George?
Well, you got to pass well enough to spread the offense out. That ball's got to be moved around. You've got to play gutsy defense as well. Know who the hitters are. Know that Gibmeyer's front row right now, and the ball will probably end up in her hands.
And if you're Mike Hebert, what do you tell your squad?
Well, same sort of thing. Serve tough. Right now, they're on serve receive. So get the ball up to the setter. Spread that offense out. Let's put the ball in Gibmeyer's hand and let her score.
And you know what? The last week of the season is so easy for these teams. For example, all Michigan State has to do is take on a couple of strong squads in Ohio State and Penn State. So, I mean, the Big Ten, night in and night out, is so tough. And the question is, if Minnesota is number 12, what is Michigan State, 12A? I mean, they've played so long here and played so hard and fought to a 5th set. And as we mentioned, it'll be the 3rd time in 4 matches for Michigan State they have gone the full distance. It'll be Weiler to serve. Michigan State looking to tie here in set number 5. Again, you have to win by 2. It's the 1st to 15. Carrico, Gibmeyer on the slide, and Lauren gets the winner.
Yeah, you knew the ball was going to go in her hands, so good job of setting up 2 blocks in front of Gibmeyer, but you've got to play tough defense around the block.
And now Lauren to serve, up by 2 in set 5. Rocci. Hammered down by the Gophers for the winner. Carrico has been on fire.
Yeah, when the ball gets played up to her and it's tight to the net, she's going to attack. So if you're the left side blocker for Michigan State, you've got to be up early on her.
Overpass, and Michigan State is forced to pay. As Filio comes up with the kill, and what was 1, all of a sudden in the blink of an eye, is now back up to 4.
Yeah, just like that, a couple unforced errors will cause the match to get out of hand. It's all about passing. As you can see there, the ball goes up over the net. It's a kill for Minnesota.
And Michigan State burns the timeout. Fans, Big Ten Tonight is your ultimate source for all things Big Ten. It's the weekly show for highlights and analysis of all of the week that was in the Big Ten. Big Ten Tonight, presented by Principal Financial Group at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central tonight. And it's only on the Big Ten Network. And I would think that we'll see some highlights of this match on Big Ten tonight. So glad to have you aboard for this one as we go to the 5th and final set. My second consecutive 5-setter, and both times it's with Michigan State. Boy, if you're Kathy George, you made the right moves last time. Mike Hebert's talking to his squad. Again, we're getting closer to that 15-point. What else can either coach do right now this late in the match?
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Coach George puts Labus back in. I think she's somewhat of a better blocker on the left side for Michigan State. There doesn't seem to be any substitutions going on from the Michigan State side of the bench, so I think she's going to keep her lineup the way it is.
We've got everything but a volleyball, and now we've got that. Gibmeyer ready to serve for Minnesota, up by 4. 11-7. Let's see if those are lucky numbers for the Golden Gophers. King would get by Nelson in the back row. Love nearly got a winner. Free one for Minnesota. Out of system, both teams, and still struggling with it. Abram, can she end the point? Look at Carrico. Love sends it over. Was it touched? Nope. It goes wide. Point, Michigan State. That was not a thing of beauty, but the Spartans will take it.
Yeah, and again, Tabitha Love on a broken play just needs to put the ball in play. She's had some great swings at the ball, but she struggles when Minnesota is out of system. She's not quite sure what to do with the ball.
Love's got it. The hammer is there. Point, Michigan State. So they creep back again as the signs of Ruth go up again on the big point by the Spartans.
Okay, so if you're Michigan State, you've got to realize Carrico is front row. She jump with her, she will attack the ball.
King serves. Miss hit. They keep it alive. Michigan State with another free ball here. Ebro and Ratchie couldn't get to it. And a point for Minnesota just when you thought they had a chance to cut it to 1. Big break for the Golden Gophers.
Man, that is a bad error if you're Michigan State. You just cannot have a non-hit on the left side.
Carrico serving. Minnesota hitting at a 351 clip for the match. Ratchie. Angeli comes through that time.
Well, she made up for it, boy. Look at this swing. Nice high swing on the ball. It's a seam in the block, and she sees it and rips it.
And if you're the Spartans, you want to stay within 1 because remember, it's the first of 15. You have to win by 2. Labus back in and serving. Carrico sends it over. Good get by Caraba in the back row. Pushed over by Abron. Hunted down by the Golden Gophers. Sent over. May have been deep. Emerald will push it over for the point for Michigan State. And they cut the lead back to 1 again.
Boy, this is huge defensive ball by Michigan State. They save it in the backcourt. And then just a sweet attack by the setter, Natalie Emro. Front row. Good job.
Labus serving. Carrico to Love. And Love gets the winner. Minnesota up by 2 and 2 points away from victory.
Tabitha Love getting it done again from the right side. That may be her strongest position and the more natural position for Tabitha Love. But nonetheless, when the Gophers need her on the left side, she's got to deliver points.
Graham Quist to serve now for Minnesota. Emerald for Avon. Pushes it over. This is Carrico to the outside and Powell. Can they get there? It was touched at the net. Point Minnesota, and match point now for the Golden Gophers.
You know, when the game is on the line, you need to swing hard at the ball. Michigan State tipping the ball at crucial points and giving Minnesota the advantage.
Minnesota for the win. It is long service error, point Michigan State. Spartans still alive. 12 will serve the 14. Abron out. Vandersteen checks into the back row.
Well, the block needs to be very disciplined for Michigan State. They need to track the hitters on Minnesota's side of the net. They've got to know where the ball's going and play very strong front and backcourt defense.
Minnesota takes a timeout. 14-12. We've extended this thing about as long as we can, and still no outcome decided between these two teams. So we touched on the records. So misleading when you look at it. Michigan State 17-12. They were 12-0 in non-con play, but 5-12 in the Big Ten. Minnesota at 21-8 and 12-5. in the Big Ten, but the difference between these two teams so small right now, just 2 points in set number 5. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Big Ten Conference and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Big Ten Conference. He's got it down. He's got the dance going. All right, Audrey, what are you looking for here with a score 14-12? First of all, if you're Christina Tan and you're Minnesota, what do you think?
Well, you've got to focus on the pass. You've got to get a good pass up, run your offense, and just play guts out here. If you're Michigan State, you've got to track the big hitters. You've got to know if the setter's front row or back row. If she's front row, you've got to be disciplined and jump with her. I believe that Carrico is back row and that there are 3 hitters for Minnesota.
And Kathy George took every second of that timeout to meet with her team. All right, here we go. 14-12. The count in this one, Minnesota up in set number 5. And Cheyenne Vandersteen to serve for Michigan State to keep it alive. She gets a signal of where to serve to.
Harms is on the right side, the big lefty freshman.
Carrico. And Harms goes for the touch shot and found the opening just when you think fastball. She came up with a changeup with all the power shots she'd shown before. She comes up with the winner, and for the first time in nearly 2 years, Minnesota comes back and gets the victory after trailing 2-0, and they win here at Michigan State by taking that 5th and final set by a count of 15-12. Plenty of excitement here. What a comeback by Minnesota. As you look at the numbers, and you can see Michigan State dominated early. The block and the defense not there for Minnesota as they struggle with their ball handling and back row play. But then the Golden Gophers got it going. I think the insertion into the lineup of Catherine Harms was huge as she made a couple of big plays for Minnesota, including the game winner with just the touch shot, as Minnesota gets the victory in 5 sets, taking number 5, 15-12. Let's go back out to Audrey, standing by with Mike Hebert.
Well, Coach, your right side attack came alive, and I think it was a lifesaver for you. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, Catherine Harms came in, and for a little while she acted like a freshman, but she matured very rapidly and gave us really some added offense on the right side. It hits the ball with a lot of pop. Difficult to dig, difficult to block. I thought she was a savior for us today.
And good turnaround after the first 2 sets. So whatever you said in the locker room worked. Talk about the future for your team here.
Well, the future this season is we're fighting like crazy for a decent seed into the NCAA tournament. This was a very important win for us. I was hoping we were going to go 3-1 on our final 2 road swings, and that's exactly what we've done with this victory tonight. I like where our team's situated right now. Very happy with the way we played in the last 3 sets.
Well, good luck at the rest of the season, and good luck in the tournament, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
Mike Hebert has toyed with that lineup, made a number of great changes, and Minnesota comes all the way back up the hill and gets the victory. We'll wrap it up from Jennison Fieldhouse right after this on the Big Ten Network.
Fox Movie Channel presents Saturday Night Triple Play. Movies from 20th Century Fox 3 times in a row. Every Saturday night.
Ooh. Ouch.
Uncut.
I hope you have a cold shower around it. What are you talking about?
Commercial free.
Can we help it if we're humanitarians?
3 times in a row.
Do you have any idea what the critics will say? It's fantastic.
I'm just so happy.
Saturday Night Triple Play. Every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Only on Fox Movie Channel.
A moving night here for the 2 seniors for Michigan State as they honor Michelle Nelson and Vanessa King in their last home match at Janison. And unfortunately, it doesn't end the way they would like as they fall to Minnesota here in 5 on the Big Ten Network. Randy Reinhardt alongside Audrey Flaw, and strong play, Audrey, by Minnesota in sets 3, 4, and 5 to take this match.
You know, and Michigan State showed signs of brilliance, especially in set 1 and 2, but I just felt like Minnesota expected to win. It was the habit of winning that they did, and they just keep fighting, and they just gritted it out here to the very end.
And you look at some of the highlights. You know, Givmeyer was so strong throughout this match. And Harms' insertion, too, in the middle of this match, I thought, paid huge dividends for Coach Mike Hebert.
You know, they were consistent throughout the entire match. The first set, they hit 41%, then 30 in the second, 27 in the third, 42 in the 4th set, and then 38% in the 5th set. So real consistent play by Minnesota.
And Tabitha Love had some moments too. She's just a freshman. Farms is a freshman. Hats off to Minnesota for a strong performance in this match, but also hats off to Michigan State. They fought, and this is the third time in 4 matches now. They've gone 5, so they played very well tonight, but just lost to a team that's number 12 in the nation. So that wraps it up here from Jennison Fieldhouse. What a night it was. Great volleyball played tonight. And the final score, it's Minnesota getting by Michigan State 3-2. For my partner Audrey Flaw and our entire Big Ten Network crew, I'm Randy Reinhardt. The preceding has been an exclusive presentation